This week I covered the Jayden Perkins story. Jayden Perkins was an 11-year-old young man from Chicago that passed away, didn't pass away, was unalived by a serious, trying to use the right words, it's still early in this live, YouTube can demonetize me on this video. A real piece of work, did him in. You know, something we've been dealing with on this channel lately is us picking and choosing between the filth. We okay with somebody tying somebody to a tree, we okay with somebody doing this, doing that. Some people that are doing those same things are doing things to underage children that don't have any place on this planet. But people still rally around those guys. They're heroes. Hey, man, I like this guy. Well, turns out that guy's a piece of shit. If you didn't know, I'm going to tell you. If you still believe he's a hero after that, then that's on you. So this is going to be a topic we're going to be talking about in the upcoming weeks. Again, with this whole Diddy situation happening, there's some people that think Diddy is completely innocent. All right, cool. Innocent till proven guilty. But if you're proven to be a POS, then you shouldn't be nobody's hero, you know. And the people that still hold you as a hero is just more proof that we pick and choose. That person will complain about somebody snitching, but won't complain about somebody hurting underage kids. There'll be a lot of people in the comments with judgment about this, that, or the other on these cartel conversations, right? They'll eat up these stories about people doing these foul things, but when I put up something that has to do with the young man that was taken off this planet, something that I felt compelled to do. Again, we were looking for Diddy information that day, and I happened to run into this story about Jayden Perkins, and I felt compelled to talk about it. Those videos like that, the Jayden Perkins videos, those videos don't get the spins. You know, that'll get 60 spins, while the story of a piece of shit like Saul would get 700, 800, 1,000 spins in its first day, first couple of hours. And that's a sad truth, but that goes right along with what I'm talking about. Us as people, as humans, we are more willing to pay attention to the bullshit, pay attention to the sick shit, the twisted shit, the demented shit, than to pay attention to something that could actually serve the people. Understanding that, you know, people have to be held accountable, our children have to be taken care of and protected. People don't care about those videos. Same kind of thing I'll say on Facebook. You put up 100 jokes on Facebook, 100 funny memes on Facebook, ha ha ha, ja ja ja, he he he, you know, but the moment you put up something that forces people to look internally and make a decision about what they're picking and choosing on, or their morality, or this or that, once you put something in there that has something to do with the mind, something that has to do with the spirit, people don't want to hear that shit. All the ha-has and he-he's are gone. Nobody hits that like button. This is who we are as people. We might not see that. We might not notice that, but it is what it is. And that's why I want to keep having this conversation about these supposed heroes that were into underage girls and boys. Because we're picking and choosing out here. So it is what it is. So I want to get a little bit deeper into that, because there's more to that story than the little short piece that I put out. And guess what? And if it gets no views, you know what I'm saying? I did my part. But I just know that people don't give a shit about real shit like this. So just remember that when you got all these heroes and all these people on the internet, God forbid anything happens to your children, you can't count on these people to really care. Even if it's a story that could change somebody's life. 11-year-old kid whose friends have to wear shirts that say, you know, Forever 11, because they lost their homie. Young talented kid, dancer, trained dancer, actor, all of the above. You know, the type of kid that can talk other kids out of their stage fright, a kid that could talk other kids out of their lack of confidence, and a kid that could have been an asset to the people around him. Gone over nothing.
And thank you for standing with us on this day where we have to report out something tragic. We're here to announce first-degree charges against the violent offender who fatally stabbed an 11-year-old boy and critically injured the boy's 33-year-old mother. Let me start by saying this is something that should have never happened.
Think?
This offender, who I will not dignify by naming, was just paroled from prison the day before he brutally attacked his family.
The day before. You're granted your freedom, and from the day before, now maybe he was seething the day before. Maybe he was seething however long he was locked up before. But the day that you're granted your freedom, you decide that you're going to come out and act a fucking fool. Or he could have came home to something he didn't want to see. Either way, there's no excuse for an 11-year-old to be taken out in adults' bullshits. Adults that handle their emotions in a lesser way than even children do. You know what I'm saying?
He's a convicted felon with multiple felonies in his background. He was out on parole while still serving a 16-year sentence for home invasion where he caused injury. This was the second time being released on parole. When he was first released on parole, he violated the order of protection against him and was taken back into custody by the Department of Corrections. He has 3 orders of protection violations against him.
So evidently, orders of protection are useless to somebody like this. Now, every day we're hearing more and more stories about people that are looking for help from the police, right? And what we see is more and more cities and towns saying, yeah, the police ain't coming unless something already went down. And not only if something already went down, but like, we're not coming for this, we're not coming for that, we're not coming for that, we're not coming for this, we're not. So you was already wasting time doing other shit that you shouldn't have been doing, like harassing people. You know, when people say defund the police, it's not defund the police and get rid of every police station. There's no need for police. Let's just have a lawless place. Nah, that ain't what we're talking about. What we're talking about is these fools got these high-priced cars, these high-priced weapons, these high-priced tanks, and they're busy living out their action film dreams and building cases on this one person when everybody else in the community is suffering. So now you got women that are afraid, or people that are afraid of somebody like this dirtbag, and they putting out restraining orders, and the restraining orders ain't worth shit. Chicago, you call somebody, you call the police for something, they're not coming. You're on your own out here. They're coming to clean up the mess once it's over. That's just what's happening out there. This guy right here violated all of these restraining orders, violated his parole again, and then came and unalived an 11-year-old kid and tried to unalive his pregnant mother. Like, my question is, are we so far gone as a humanity that really none of this shit matters? It's just par for the course. It is what it is, and there's no fixing or changing it. Are we hopeless? That's the question. Because when you think of people, having heroes that are PDF files, chomos and diddlers, they're okay with that. There's other people that are, appalled by the unaliving and the savageness that's going on out there. And then there's the people that only deal with the politicals. I think everybody's compartmentalized. And us as a humanity, we're kind of...
Again, this is something that should not have happened. The day after he was released, he entered the home of the family and took the life of an innocent 11-year-old boy. The boy's mother was stabbed multiple times, and she had an order of protection against this offender.
So right there, that's just proof positive. Order of protection means nothing, doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Her 5-year-old son was also present and witnessed this attack. We have to imagine what that 5-year-old is going to have to deal with the rest of his life after witnessing something so brutal. When we talk about trauma, just imagine the level of trauma that this 5-year-old is suffering through. This mom's life is now forever changed. Along with being brutally attacked, stabbed multiple times, dealing with that trauma, she has to face the fact that she will never see, touch, hug her 11-year-old son. She's lost him forever. We will continue to show support for this family.
How long before the parole board says stamp, granted parole, and then they let you out the front door? Because they didn't see this one coming, did they? Or did they give a shit? Was dude just another piece of paperwork?
Because as a department, we want to make sure that we reach out. Our officers who arrive on the scene witness this level of brutality. So we have a clear understanding of what it looks like and what these families and victims are going through. And I've said it before, I'll say it a million times again. We have to continue to support our victims. We have to have a focus on the victims.
How about we protect people so that they're not victims?
When I think about some of the things that have happened, I ask the question, where's the outrage? There are a lot of things that people have shown outrage for in this city, but an 11-year-old boy lost his life brutally. A woman stabbed brutally.
This guy is basically saying the same shit I am. Everybody has selective outrage. Mad about one thing, not mad about the other. I've been telling stories about young kids losing their life my whole life. Why? Because I've been burying friends since I was a little kid. He's saying the same thing, selective outrage.
In a domestic attack, where is the outrage for this family? Let's focus on the victims. First thing I'd like to do is thank Area 3 for the hard work and quick action that they took in getting charges approved for this offender. I'd like to thank every member of the Chicago Police Department who were a part of working to quickly apprehend this offender so that he could not offend again. I cannot say enough.
What? We're gonna give everybody props because I mean he just did what he did. Yeah, y'all had to go get him. That's your job. Go get him. But not offend again. Evidently, this dude was a repeat offender over and over, beating out parole boards and beating out restraining orders. What are we talking about?
Enough about how hard our department members, our police officers, our detectives are working to bring a level of justice, if we can call it that, to families who have been victims of brutal attacks. And I'd like to say thank you to each and every member of the department who was involved in this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this over to Chief City, who is going to give you some details.
Yeah,
about
that's what we're waiting for. Run the details.
Good afternoon, Antoinette City Chief, Bureau of Detectives. I want to reiterate what Superintendent Snelling just said. It is important right now that we focus on supporting the survivors of this attack and all those affected by this tragedy. Our deepest condolences are with them. The 37-year-old male offender has been charged with 1 felony count of first-degree murder, 1 felony count of attempted first-degree murder, 3 felony counts of home invasion with a dangerous weapon, 1 felony count of armed robbery with a dangerous weapon, 1 felony count of aggravated domestic battery, 1 felony count of unlawful use of a weapon by a felon, 1 felony count of violation of an order, prior violation of order of protection, and 1 issuance of a warrant for parole violation. Investigations like this are never easy, especially when they involve children. Immediately upon learning of this incident, Area 3 detectives responded and began collecting evidence and witness statements. During the investigation, detectives learned the 33-year-old female victim was in a prior relationship with this offender more than 15 years ago.
Jonathan Pentry donated $5. Damn, I came in before we went live, hit the like button and then relied on the notify me to actually work. Salute my dude Chill for the consistent, hard work, and resiliency with the diverse great content. Salute chat.
This offender has a history of domestic abuse, and as the superintendent mentioned, is a convicted felon who has had previous order of protection violation convictions. The offender was serving a 16-year sentence for home invasion and aggravated assault when he was paroled and placed on electronic monitoring this past October. While he was on parole, he threatened the female victim via text and also showed up at her home. He was sent back to prison in February for this parole violation. The offender was released on parole on March 12th.
So wait, same person, same case, but he still got parole.
While he was on parole, he threatened electronic monitoring this past October. While he was on parole, he threatened the female victim via text and also showed up at her home. He was sent back to prison in February for this parole violation. The offender was released on parole on March 12th. The day after he was released, he returned to the victim's home, where he attacked her and fatally stabbed her 11-year-old son. Her 5-year-old son was also inside the residence, but was not injured.
Got smoking.
Video evidence shows the offender running from the scene with the knife used in the incident, which was later recovered, as well as other belongings. Several individuals were able to provide important information that led to the identification of this offender, who was taken into custody hours after the stabbing. I want to acknowledge the Area 3 detectives who spent the past 2 days investigating and securing charges in this case. I also want to thank every officer who responded to the scene and everyone who assisted in this case. This was a coordinated effort that included detectives, 20th District personnel, the Area 3 Homicide Task Force. Together, these men and women brought swift closure to a brutal crime of violence against a mother and her son. I'd now like to introduce Cook County State's Attorney, Kim Fox.
They should have just ran up on him, American Me style, and just, you know what I mean? Done deal. You like stabbing little kids? Go on, take this Edward James almost.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us here today. I stand here with Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling, Chief of Detectives, Antoinette City, and Alderman Andre Vasquez.
Who let this fool out of jail? Bit about Andre Vasquez right here. Y'all see Andre Vasquez right here in the corner? You see him right here? That guy right there is a former MC that I came up with in the community. All right, his name was at first, back in the olden days, Optimus Prime, and then it was Prime. We did a lot of battle circuits together. Me and Prime, he's an alderman now, and he's renounced us. You know what I'm saying? But he's doing his thing.
United in our sorrow and our resolve following a tragic event that has deeply affected our community. As you have heard, we are here to announce the charges filed in this heartbreaking case involving the murder of an 11-year-old boy and the attempted murder of his mother, a crime that has shocked our city to its core. The charges, if you've already heard, are first-degree murder, attempt first-degree murder, and home invasion. The defendant will appear in first appearance court at 11:30 this morning. The State's Attorney's Office has filed a motion to detain. We believe that he is a threat, as obviously indicated by the horrific nature of this crime, as well as his actions post-parole. This was not just a vicious and violent attack on an 11-year-old boy and his mother. It was an assault on the very fabric of our community, targeting the most vulnerable among us. An innocent child's life was taken as he tried to protect his mother far too soon. And a mother was attacked in what should have been the safest place for her, which was her home.
Are you fake crying up there? Don't start the fake crying up there. Just tell the story and push on.
As the superintendent has mentioned, this defendant has a history of domestic violence and had only been recently released from serving a sentence from a prior conviction. The victim had an order of protection against him from previous encounters, and this history paints a disturbing pattern of behavior which emphasizes the importance of the filing of the charges today.
He's a can't get right. When you got a can't get right, ain't nothing you can do with a can't get right. But to me, it sounds like he's a stalker. There's no stalker law that could keep his ass in jail. This lady went out of her way to make these restraining orders for dude to step all over them and unalive her 11-year-old son.
I want to express my deepest condolences to the family and the friends of the victim. The unimaginable pain of losing a child, combined with the trauma of this violent act, is destabilizing. We stand with you in your grief, in your quest for justice. I also want to thank, once again, Superintendent Snelling, Chief Rossetti, Alderman Vasquez, leadership.
Come on, man. Come on with the thank yous,
Together,
man.
we
Like, what is
stand in
this?
our
What is this? A celebratory fucking thing? Somebody dropped the ball. Somebody in this city dropped the ball. Somebody on the parole board dropped the ball. Somebody dropped the ball. Everybody thanking everybody because we caught this loser quick. He doesn't seem like the kind of motherfucker that's hard to find.
Meant to serve and protect our communities. I also want to extend a heartfelt thanks to our dedicated team of prosecutors, investigators, and staff whose tireless efforts have brought us to this point. I want to commend Kim Ward.
Come on,
Jennifer
commend your
Dillman,
ass.
and Launch Track Case. We will ensure that the legal process is thorough,
Sure.
fair,
Sure.
and just,
Sure.
and that this defendant is held accountable.
Sure.
As we move
Like
forward,
he was held accountable before. Now we want accountability after he did the worst that he could do. Now we want accountability. Accountability was evidently parole wasn't working for him. All right, this was proven already that parole wasn't working for him.
let us all remember the life lost and the lives forever changed by this act of violence. Our commitment to justice is unwavering, and we'll do everything within our power to see that justice is served. In closing, I ask for the community's support for this family.
That's it right there. IB said it. It wouldn't be a press conference without a good circle jerk. Hey, you get a little satisfaction. You get a little satisfaction. We'll give you some satisfaction. Here, everybody, take the good feels. Fuck out of here. You're right, though.
And for the victims, and as the superintendent said, a collective effort among us all to address and prevent such future acts of senseless violence.
Collect your ass. Let's see what Prime got to say.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. First, I wish we weren't here to have this conversation. What occurred this past week, just 2 blocks from where I live, was an attack not just on a family, but an attack on a whole community. I take some solace on the fact that what we're seeing is a department and a government working together to make sure that there is accountability. And I want to thank Superintendent Snelling.
What's the accountability, though? The accountability is we got him. He's arrested. You know what I'm saying? Like, the accountability needed to come before they paroled him 2 times and it didn't work. I'm not one that says he has the answers. Because at the end of the day, I'm not political like them. At the end of the day, throw Buddy in the river with you know what I'm saying, cement boots on. It don't matter to me because that's what he deserves. All right? The problem with us as a country doing that is that we don't get it right all the time. Sometimes you get the wrong guy and put cement boots on him, then what? Same way when Buddy killed Nip. When Buddy unalived Nip, I was just hoping the streets would catch him and eat him. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was waiting for to happen. That didn't happen. I was disappointed when it didn't.
All the detectives for all the amazing work, the state's attorney's office for making sure this was a priority. As you all have heard, there was a family and a woman and children who were hurt. The young man's name is Jayden. Jayden, in a moment, trying to get to school, right? The door opens up, and he does what anyone would do if you see your family in danger. He tries to defend his mother.
Because Jayden wasn't just talented. Jayden was a motherfucking gangster. All right? For those that don't know, I got a record that I've recently written a partial screenplay off of. And it's called The Damage Is Done. And it's a story of that. It's a story of a young kid, 8, 9 years old, defending and protecting his mother. That's what Jayden did. Because Jayden was outgoing. That when you look at what this kid's life was, he looks like the most outgoing kid. He's at the party doing backflips. He didn't seem scared of, being out there. And what did he do? He went to help his mama, man.
And he does trying to get to school. Jayden, in a moment, trying to get to school, right? The door opens up, and he does what anyone would do if you see your family in danger. He tries to defend his mother. He was a victim of this kind of attack. I've lost an older brother to gun violence. My heart right now is in pain for the 5-year-old who had to witness any of this. And so last night, there was a vigil held at the property. What I saw out there was about 80 children, ages 10 to 14 years old, that speak to how popular young Jayden was.
Those shorties ain't never going to be the same. I know, I was them. They ain't never going to be the same. They're different now. Their parents are going to see it. Everybody going to see it. They're different now. Right? How it affects some, who knows? How it affects others, who knows?
He was popular in the school at Peirce Elementary. He was a member of his local dance troupe. And so I think about not just the family, but everyone in the community that's affected. But what we did see was everyone coming together. And so although we know this is one chapter in the story and we want to see accountability and for justice to be served, there's a lot more work to be done to make sure that the family, that staff at the school, that the community all have the support systems they need, that we look as a government to see what more can be done to support victims and some survivors of domestic violence. There are the opportunities for everyone to come together and help each other out, but none of this is going to be easy. None of us are alone. And as we try to mourn together, we know that we're together as we move forward. And so anything that we need to do as a city to help empower the detectives, officers, state's attorney's office to make sure that no incidents like this ever occur, and anyone who ever even thinks about this kind of behavior is held to account, we're going to do. It's a tough city to live in some days. I think we all know, we all look at the news. And
listen, I could vouch for dude. He knows that. He's not some dude from somewhere else that don't know. He's a dude from right here, though.
Apologize, because sometimes I might feel a little jaded and desensitized because of what we see.
Facts.
But this is something that we know if we don't get ahead of domestic violence issues everywhere, there may be other cases. And so I just want to thank everyone here for all the
work.
Not
there may be. It's been happening forever. It's been happening all over the world. Like, there's no... I didn't make those songs so long ago talking about this issue because it wasn't happening. It was happening then, too.
That you've done, and look forward to justice being served. Thank you very much.
Man charged in unaliving of boy, stabbing a pregnant mother on Chicago's north side days after being released from jail. Here, they look like they got a shot of the vigil here.
A suspect has now been charged in his murder and his mother's attack. CBS 2 is always investigating. Our Jermont Terry has been on top of this story for days and has today's big updates in the case tonight. Jermont.
Erica, tonight the man charged in this deadly stabbing has been ordered to stay behind bars. That's where the pregnant mother wanted him all along. Yet
they couldn't do that preemptively. You already failed when we gave you parole in October, so what, he had a change of heart all of a sudden? After this last, October, November, December, January, February? He was paroled in February? Come on, man.
It's clear, despite pleading for an emergency order of protection, she was not protected, and questions still looming as to why.
Jayden Perkins is being held a hero. The 11-year-old lost his life when he jumped in between his mother and the man attacking her inside their Edgewater apartment.
Her 5-year-old son was also present and witnessed this attack.
Police identify Corsetti Brand as the attacker. He's now charged.
Look at this sausage smoker. Corsetti Brand. First degree unaliving, attempted first degree unaliving, armed robbery, home invasion, domestic battery. You, sir, the scum at the bottom of a jail shower. You're not even worthy of the bottom of my shoe. You pussy. If there was an example of bitch made, that's it right there. If you could do that to an 11-year-old kid that's protecting his pregnant mother from you, I don't give a fuck what she did. Don't get it fucked up, because I know women could push buttons and pull off moves that will make your head spin. I get it. But ain't nothing worth what you did, bro. You the scum at the bottom of a prison shower. May the worst come for you for however long you still breathing on this planet. May the worst come for you. The worst, the worst, the worst.
For first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, armed robbery, home invasion, and domestic battery.
This is something that should have never happened.
Especially when CBS 2 examined court records showing the pregnant woman's fight to keep her family safe from a man she dated more than 15 years ago. We first revealed how the mother was denied an emergency order of protection back on February 21st.
Denied.
She wrote, "Brand sent me several text messages saying..."
Why was it denied? Under what grounds was that order of protection, denied?
Should have never happened.
Why?
Especially when CBS 2 examined court records showing the pregnant woman's fight to keep her family safe from a man she dated more than 15 years ago.
Look at that. A 15-year-old emotional fit from a sucker-ass dude. Still crying for a chick 15 years later. All of that time he's been harassing her. All of this time he's been in prison over it. Or denied parole over it, or had these restraining orders against them. Why would you deny that? Who denied that? Where's that person's job? Why that person don't got to go to jail? Why that person can't get poked up? Huh?
We first revealed how the mother was denied an emergency order of protection back on February 21st.
Who did this? Huh? Who put the stamp on this shit right here? Where's that person? Interview that person. Let's get some understanding, some accountability for that.
Where she wrote, "Brand sent me several text messages saying he would kill me and my family. He would wait outside my house and shoot me. I have pics." In court Friday, we learned in 3 different incidents.
Look at him, a straight bitch. Look at him.
Brand violated orders of protection related to the victim.
And also showed up at her home. He was sent back to prison in February for this parole violation.
And because he was in prison, that's one reason the judge denied the emergency protection. The case was continued for March 13th, yet Brand was paroled the day before. So why was he released?
I don't have a good answer.
I'm fucking sure you don't have a good answer. I'd be hard-pressed for you to find anybody that actually has a good answer to that question. Find them. I dare you to find them.
For that, obviously that would be a question for the Illinois Department of Corrections.
The Illinois Department of Correction confirms to CBS 2 after stepping before the Parole Review Board at the Stateville Correctional Center, Brand was paroled again. Illinois DOC say they have no record of being notified of Brand's March 13th hearing. Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox says this case deserves a review.
There was an
review? Review? What did Robert Downey say? What are we, the Revengers? Y'all ready to get revenge, but no preemptive offense. This lady was not being lazy with her or her children's safety. She was out there filling out the necessary paperwork to get restraining orders against this dude, orders of protection against this dude. She was being proactive. She was being proactive. While the parole board was doing nothing, hitting it with the stamp.
An order of protection that was in place, a lifetime order of protection given to this victim. This is a defendant who was aware that there was an order of protection in place.
Now, you heard State's Attorney Fox say there was already a lifetime order of protection in place, yet legal experts tell us they never came across something like that.
No, a lifetime protection order, and that even still got violated. So, ¿qué nos quedamos?
And the court records that CBS 2 obtained do not reflect that either, Erica.
Well, Jermon, it actually turned violent in court today when Brand appeared before a judge.
Yeah, it did, Erica. Emotions are very raw. Things got extremely heated when the 11-year-old's family tried attacking Brand, who was surrounded by guards. Now, they did not get to him, but many of them tried, and the judge had them escorted out of the courthouse, but they were not held in contempt. This family obviously is going through so much, Erica.
I wish they'd have got him in that courtroom. A man has been charged in a stabbing that left an 11-year-old boy unalived and pregnant mother critically injured in their Edgewater home Wednesday morning in what police have called a domestic incident. His name. I hope his name dies off. I don't even want to say his name. 37 is facing charges including first-degree unaliving, attempted first-degree unaliving, armed robbery, home invasion, and domestic battery. He made his initial court appearance on Friday. In the courtroom, family members charged that shithead trying to get through the court barriers to get to him. They had to be escorted out of the courtroom and out of the George and Layton Criminal Courthouse altogether, though they were not held in contempt of court. Judge, you'd have been a whole hoe if you would have held them in contempt of court. I get it. We need order, but this whole thing is disorder. It is what it is. A judge orders shithead to be held behind bars. CBS 2 has learned shithead has a violent history of domestic battery. He had just been released from jail on Tuesday. Police said around 8 a.m., officers responded to a call from the 5900 block of North Ravenswood Avenue, where they found 11-year-old Jayden Perkins, who had suffered an injury to his chest. Police also found a 33-year-old woman who had suffered multiple stab wounds. High school crush. Dude's a straight bitch. Emergency crews rushed both victims to Ascension St. Francis Hospital in Evanston, where Jayden passed away, and the woman was left in critical condition with a cut to her neck. The mother is 8 months pregnant. CBS 2 is told she is expected to recover, as is the unborn baby. Police said the mother was leaving to take her kids to school when the suspect forced his way into the house. Police confirmed her 5-year-old son witnessed the attack. Chicago Police Chief and Detective Antoinette Ursitti said the suspect had been released on electronic monitoring in October, but returned to prison after violating his parole. He was next released on March 12th, just a day before the violent attack. The woman who was stabbed had a history with shithead dating back more than 15 years. She also has a long history of trying to protect herself from him after dating him so long ago. This is a high school pest that she never shook off. This is a high school pest that no matter what he was going through in his life, whether he was in prison, on the run, whatever he was doing, she was on his mind and his intent was to hurt her. This defendant has a history of domestic violence and had only been recently released from serving a sentence from a prior conviction. Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox said the victim had an order of protection against him for previous encounters, and this history paints a disturbing pattern of behavior which emphasizes the importance of filing of charges today. Today is fucking late. You late, Kim Fox. Why nobody studied these patterns before? Huh? The patterns of somebody that you parole that keeps breaking the same shit. The system is this whole thing is a house of cards, man. The system's bullshit. All right, look at the Flores twins. 2 men, right? You would think in a prison system across this country, there's many sets of twins in prison, right? You would think, right? All they had to do was keep account of 2 people that looked somewhat alike, because I could look at them and tell them apart, right? I'm sure a lot of you could look at them and tell them apart. But no, they send the wrong one to another prison that they didn't intend to do. Why? Because the system is made of plastic, cardboard, and masking tape, man. It's bullshit. You can poke your fingers through it. It's a wet paper bag. It's a facade. It's suits and ties with nothing inside. That's all it is. The whole government, all of it. Where this whole country is being held together by a string. Some people don't want to believe that. Some people want to live in this world of nah, everything's gonna be all right. My government got me. Bullshit. Government didn't have Jayden Perkins. Didn't have his back. All this AI, all of this technology, all these analytics, and nobody could figure out, oh, we got this guy in the system that keeps doing this and keeps doing this. Maybe we should try to implement some new laws or try to implement some new way of keeping him behind bars so that he don't hurt nobody, because we know that's what he's going to do. Huh? But we can't figure that we're not smart enough. Why? Because we're too busy locking us up disproportionately, black and brown people, poor white people, and lining their pockets in their funny suits. It's all bullshit. Government system failed us time after time, and they will continue to until they take it all from us. Like, it's just what they do. Not just here. We the blueprint, though. We figured out how to do it and have everybody love it. We love oppression in this country because we got toys. I got sneakers, and you got race cars and Corvettes and this and that, and they sell us with all these toys and shit so that we don't see how they're fucking us over everywhere else. System was never even built to help. It was just built to hurt us, help them. But today's late, man. This is something that never should have happened, Police Superintendent Larry Snelling said at a press briefing Friday morning on the charges against Brand. Shitface, again, had been released from jail a day before the attack. He had also served 8.5 years in prison for aggravated domestic battery and home invasion. This is a repeat offender. This dude doesn't like women. All right? This dude doesn't like, being told to get a job. This dude doesn't like to be told to be thoughtful. He don't like none of that shit, so he buck all the time. He been emotional 15, 20 years. An emotional baby. I'm telling you, babies handle their emotions better than this dude. Another ex-girlfriend and shithead said over the phone earlier this week that she couldn't understand why he was ever released. This was given that court records showed that Shitface forced his way into the apartment of his former girlfriend, then attacked and threatened her 15-year-old son, and then put a hammer to the girlfriend's chin and pushed her up against the wall and began to choke her. All right? When I say hammer, I mean a pew-pew. All right? A pow-pow. I don't know what I can say, what I can't say on YouTube. A gun. Shithead was sentenced to 16 years in prison for the home invasion targeting the other ex-girlfriend, yet was paroled last year in October. On February 1st, police said he threatened the Edgewater victim again. He threatened the Edgewater victim. When he was paroled and placed on electronic monitoring this past October while he was on parole, he threatens the female victim via text and also showed up at her home. He was sent back to prison in February for his parole violation. On February 21st, the victim appeared in court for an emergency order of protection against Shithead. An emergency order of protection. She knew she was in danger. She screamed it in your face. Whoever denied that. And you denied an 11-year-old the opportunity to save his mother. Well, he did. But you made him make a choice. He couldn't have his life and save his mother. He gone now. Whoever denied that document, that boy's blood is on your hands. Whoever has seen this pattern with Shitface here and continue to throw him back out on the street, that baby's blood is on your hands. In the request for the emergency order of protection, the Edgewater victim wrote that Brand sent me several text messages saying that he would unalive me and my family. He would wait outside my house and shoot me. I have pics. She screamed it in y'all's face. She should sue everybody. It ain't gonna get her baby back, but everybody should be sued over that. How you deny this? Emergency, what, she's just frivolously making orders of protection just to make your job more difficult? You lazy cuck, whoever the fuck denied that. But the judge in that case denied it. It was a judge. We need to figure out that judge's name. That judge is a piece of shit. That judge should never sit on a bench again. But the judge in that case denied it. Noting that Shithead was already in prison and it wasn't an emergency. And what happened? The next day he was out. That judge should go to jail. Amanda Piron, executive director of the network advocating against domestic violence, reviewed the transcript from court Friday. It's also a little concerning that the judge didn't ask why the individual was in IDOC custody or when he might be able to be released, said Piron. Piron said if the judge had asked any follow-ups, lazy bitch-ass cuck of a judge. Piron said if the judge had asked any follow-ups, he may have discovered that Brand was due to be released on March 12th, and thus the situation was an emergency. Judge, I got a grudge. That seems like salient information that a judge would want in decision making about an emergency order of protection. Snelling was asked why Brand was still released, and this is when he said, I don't have a good answer for that. Sorry, I got nothing for you when it comes to that. Obviously, that would be a question for the Illinois Department of Corrections, Snelling said. My feeling is that he should not have been. He violated parole. He violated an order of protection, and it involved the same type of crime that he was paroled for. So this is someone who should not have been on the streets. But none of these cucks put all of that together in the pattern that was down one case, one sheet of paper. That's all it took for you to know that this dude shouldn't be outside. And what did he do? He went straight to her house. IDOC has only confirmed that shithead was heard by the Illinois Prison Review Board and was released from Stateville Correctional Center on March 12th. She knew. Jayden's mother knew he was getting out, but the judge didn't know he was getting out. She knew he was getting out in enough time that she needed an emergency order of protection, but the punk-ass judge didn't know that, right? Come on, man. Bunch of bullshit. And was released from Stateville Correctional Center on March 12th. It was still unclear Friday if and when any of the information about the victim request for an emergency order of protection was communicated to IDOC. Of course it wasn't, because God forbid you guys are able to, send messages to each other for the greater good, But I'm sure y'all sending memes making fun of motherfuckers and all kind of filthy shit and y'all hurting prisoners and this, that everybody could do. But nobody could just say, hey, man, by the way, but y'all over here trying to parole Buddy, but Buddy got a active, order of protection that someone's trying to put against him. And the judge just brushed it off. That judge. I wish the worst for that judge. It was still unclear Friday if and when any information about the victim's request for an emergency order of protection was communicated to IDOC. CBS 2 reached out to all of the members of the Prison Review Board Friday and had not heard back late in the day. Of course they didn't. Of course they didn't hear from the parole board. Court records show the suspect has had orders of protection filed against him from 4 other women dating back to 2004. There are questions that need to be examined and truthfully answered so that we can prevent something like this from happening in the future. It's our word politician soup. It's just talking. Fox described the apparent issues in this case as shocking and so glaring. However rare, this is horrific and we need to do an evaluation, particularly in the case, in this case, particularly in this case, and others, to ensure that there were no gaps in the justice system that will allow for a dangerous offender to commit the acts he did. There's absolutely gaps, and he danced right through them with a big old knife. Y'all are stupid. Fox said despite the emergency order of protection being denied, there was already a lifetime order of protection in place. Advocates and legal experts say they're not sure what Fox means by a lifetime order of protection, and the public records, court records do not reflect. Kim Fox just up there saying whatever? And the court records do not reflect that the victim has such a thing. Evidently she didn't have it, or she wouldn't have been filing for the one she went and got. The state's attorney office followed up to the release this statement late Friday afternoon. According to law enforcement records, there is an order of protection related to the 33-year-old victim in this case with no expiration date. Look at this. The state's attorney's office, okay, Kim Fox followed up evidently, but why did old girl, if old girl knew that, she wanted double protection. This girl was scared, man. The state's attorney's office followed up to release this statement late Friday afternoon. According to law enforcement records, there is an order of protection related to the 33-year-old victim in this case with no expiration date. The victim in this case and the victim in the 2015 case were both notified by IDOC of the defendant's release on October 2023. And the defendant was notified not to have contact with both victims. We are continuing to investigate this matter. Listen, a lifetime order of protection or a order of protection with a date on it, same shit. Wipe your ass with it because it's worthless. I think you get an order of protection now just for a paper trail. Don't think it's protecting anything. Simply for when the shit finally goes down, you have paperwork saying that you looked for protection and it wasn't given because you can't hope for it. You can't hope for help. Not happening. CBS 2 also reached out to the Cook County Chief Judge's office about the judge's decision to not grant the emergency order. I bet you he didn't respond either because he's a cuck. And the judge's lack of follow-up questioning related to the victim's arrest. The spokesperson said under Illinois Supreme Court ethics rules, they cannot comment. That judge. Judge, fuck you. Mayor Johnson in a statement said he was devastated by the murder of Jayden and the attempted murders of his mother. Brandon Johnson. This despicable crime is a horrific reminder of the need for us to correct systemic failures and address the root causes. It's the same thing that Kim Fox said. Oh, we gotta fix these things. Root causes of violence in our community, and continue to support our domestic violence and gender-based violence survivors, their families and communities, and the providers and advocates who do this work daily. Domestic violence impacts everyone in our communities, and we are committed to building on resources that support survivors and their families, partnerships like the Network Advocating Against Domestic Violence. Make the domestic violence hotline possible. Make the Illinois Domestic Violence Hotline possible. What you going to do with the hotline? Anyone who may be experiencing or witnessing violence may reach out by calling or texting the hotline. So what? So what's the hotline going to do? Y'all going to talk about it? Hotline going to stop him from kicking in the fucking door and killing the kid? No? What is it? I thank the Chicago Police Department for its efforts and for bringing swift justice as we continue to coordinate resources for Jayden's family and the community. The family has been connected to emergency funding and other resources. Chicago Public Schools and community-based victim service teams are providing support to students who attend school with Jayden and those in the community who are impacted. See, we didn't have that. I don't remember that coming up. Maybe I just didn't utilize the resources, but dumb shorties are going to take this with them. You know what I'm saying? This is part of their life now. Part of their life is gone. You know, their little homie's gone. That's going to stick with them. That ain't going nowhere. Jayden was a bright light in his community. We grieve alongside his family and community as we reckon with this unthinkable loss. We pray for Jayden's mother's recovery. We will never forget Jayden, who was taken from us too soon. Victim Jayden Perkins called an exceptional young man. A stunned neighbor described Jayden as a great kid and the family as calm and loving. Jayden attended the Helen C. Peirce School of International Studies, a Chicago public elementary school. A support fund has been set up for Jayden by the Peirce Elementary School community and the Gus Giordano Dance School in Andersonville. A total of more than $26,000 has been raised towards a $50,000 goal as of Friday afternoon. The website for the Memorial Fund said Jayden was known for his love of spending time with friends, playing sports, and performing. He earned straight A's and consistently made the honor roll in school and was involved in cross-country, football, and the arts, the website said. Jayden especially enjoyed performing and theater and appeared in several school plays at Peirce, including Finding Nemo. Jayden's mother had worked as a recess coach at Peirce before moving to the medical field. She was a lovable woman, and her son was very well-mannered and spoke to me all the time. The neighbor added of Jayden's mother, and I'm sorry for this tragedy. Jayden's brother, who witnessed the brutal attack, also attends Peirce. Rest in peace, Jayden Perkins. Some dude that she talked to 15 years ago that she can't get off of her. This is how it all ends up. Rest in peace, Jayden Perkins. May the person that did this to him suffer the worst of the worst. And I hope that his family is able to, find some way to move on and live as normal of a life as they could possibly do. Again, this is not a solitary story. Stories like this and worse are happening all over right now. Do we give a shit? Nah. We care what Diddy's doing. But if he's making victims, then we need to care about that. Because there's children that need to be protected out there. So it is what it is. But we're worried about other bullshit. How many people are in there for selling rugs, selling narcotics, while these violent dudes are outside being more violent? Right? Who cares, right? Nobody cares.